What's up, everybody? I just kind of wanted to tell you what's been going on with my 30-day carnivore challenge that I had for myself. I'm on day 21, I believe it is, and I had shared with you guys about how I'd done a 3-day beef and butter fast and how I felt really, really good and that I wasn't experiencing any hot flashes at all when doing that, and they didn't come back. So I just kind of started digging around about carnivore. Thought, this is kind of strange for me to feel really good on this and feel fasted, but then, have something in my tummy to keep me going, especially at work during stressful times and stuff like that. And so I just started digging around, and Jordan and Michaela Peterson have said that they healed from a carnivore diet. Michaela had actually challenged her dad, Jordan, and said, hey, just try it for 30 days and see how you feel. And Michaela had some pretty serious health problems that she actually claims that she cured herself from with the carnivore diet. So I was curious, really curious, especially after experiencing something like I had been struggling with hot flashes. I thought I'd found the cure, and then they would come back. And then I thought, oh, this is it. And they'd come back. And so I was like, we need to do a little more investigation in this. And that's part of what my journey is just experimenting on myself, finding out what works for me, right? Because everybody's different. There's no one size fits all. I am on day 22 for carnivore. First of all, I just want to get this out of the way. I'm not sure that I'm going to stay carnivore for very long. I've considered going a couple more months just to kind of see how everything comes out, because for hormone regulation, I can see the fruits of that already, even after just a couple of days. And we know that hormones is at the root of all the health problems that we're having, especially for us older women when we get into menopause. There's some hormone problems, and then there's so many estrogens in the environment, like from the plastics and all the chemicals and things like that. The phytoestrogens we're fighting against, and it's kind of like a war with our bodies, and our bodies are trying to fight all this stuff. And so I thought, hey, I'm going to give this a try and see how it works. So far, the hormone regulation has been working. Dr. Ken Berry said that it can take up to a couple months to see it completely heal and all your hormones to be firing perfectly. So I may do it for another 30 days. I may go ketovore at the end of this trial, just because I do miss vegetables. I'm one of those weird people. I know in one of their Ken's podcasts, he was talking with somebody like, who wants to eat broccoli? I'm like, me. I like broccoli. I actually like it. So I don't know. I miss, blueberries, and the low carb fruits. I miss my salads. I miss all that. But I also see the value of eating really clean ruminant animals, meaning like deer, goat, sheep, obviously beef is a ruminant animal, just because I guess the way they take grass in and vegetation, and the way they break it up in their stomachs, and then their meat is really, really good and high quality nutrition for us, and has way more vitamins. I was actually really shocked when I found out I was getting more vitamins from meat than I was getting from my vegetables. That kind of blew me away. I was kind of like, I don't know. I had a hard time taking in some of this information, but after watching video after video after video and really digging in and doing some research, I'm starting to see there really is quite a bit of truth to this. So we need to be careful and make sure that we are getting enough animal protein. At least I think so. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being vegan. You want to be vegan, you go right ahead. Do some research, make sure that you're getting enough protein, and in a way that your body is bioavailable to your body and to actually use for tissue growth. And make sure that you're eating clean, because being vegan doesn't necessarily mean you're eating clean. So just take your health into consideration. Don't be like, oh, okay, I'm a vegan, so therefore I'm living on this pedestal of nutrition. It's not always the case. And some of these products, like the no meat in it, but it looks like a burger patty. I don't know of the name brand, but it's kind of scary, some of the stuff that's in there. So do some digging. Don't just eat it because it says no meat, right? do some digging around and see what's actually in it. You might be surprised. So yeah, I'm giving it a shot. I feel amazing, like amazing, guys. I do notice like during the day, especially at work, if I haven't had enough fat, like if I don't add butter to my beef or whatever before I go to work, if I'm like in a hurry and I just shove it in a bowl and then I go, I start to feel tired. So if you're going to do a carnivore thing, make sure you're getting enough protein and enough fat to satiation so you don't feel tired, especially because I'm still working out. So I noticed that if I don't have enough fat, I feel tired. So once I have the fat, I feel great. I feel good. I get up. I have just as much vigor as any other day. And also, this is kind of like TMI maybe, but my body doesn't have the waste that it normally would, if you know what I mean. Very small amount of waste. Now, I've heard that it could go either way. You could either have like diarrhea or you could be constipated with carnivore for a period of time. I've experienced neither one of those situations. Neither. It's got to be the healthiest way to live because there's hardly any waste at all, and I feel really good. And according to the research, they're saying that a lot of that nutrition that's going in, it's because it's starting to put bone. You're getting denser bones again, and you're repairing collagen and muscle tissue and things like that. So it's actually going into your body and repairing things that, you know, maybe you haven't been eating exactly like you should, and you know it, and your body's having to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. You know, borrow from your bones and borrow here and borrow there to keep essential body functions going, right? Because your body's got to keep your brain functioning and your heart functioning and your lungs functioning and all of our vital organs. I mean, it has to keep it going. You have to have these things going. So if it needs to, your body will pull nutrition out of other areas like bone, a little bit here and a little bit there. I actually have a little spot on one tooth where, because I was so sick with a couple of my pregnancies, my body literally took what it needed out of some of my teeth. And that's pretty common among pregnant women. And they'll even tell you that in some of the classes that you go to, like Lamaze classes and stuff. They'll tell you take really good care of your teeth. Try to make sure that you're getting plenty of nutrition and you're taking your vitamins, because a lot of times it's your teeth that'll go. When your body's growing a fetus, it's going to pull what it needs from your body if you're not getting what you need. And then you're the one that's going to be missing out on what you need. Well, you know, obviously, because you're taking care of your baby, your body is. So that's kind of like even in just day-to-day life, your body will keep things going and it'll pull from bone and stuff. So that's being replaced. And I know that that's true because I feel totally different. I haven't lost a ton of weight. I have lost about 5 pounds, you know, in 20 something days. So that's pretty remarkable, right? But I feel more solid. And then when, you know, because I have a scale that says, hey, you've lost, you know, this much muscle, or gained this much muscle, or lost this much fat, or gained this much fat, all of my markers are moving in the right direction, and I feel solid. My clothes fit different on me. And I've heard several carnivores say the same thing, that they never lost another pound for months, but their clothes started to fit different, and their body composition started changing. And for me, that's really important, because I don't want to be just small, and I don't want to be just skinny. I want to keep my curves, you know, I want to look like a woman, but I also want to have that lean muscle mass, and I want to be healthy. Because as we age, sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss, becomes a problem. And later on down the line, we just keep losing more and more muscle, and it actually starts to accumulate over time. It makes you weaker and weaker and weaker. And then also, we know muscles metabolically way more active than fat is. So we want that muscle. And it's really weird. Guys, I'm kind of blown away by this whole carnivore thing. It's really cool, but at the same time, it still kind of got me really thinking, because it's kind of I just wonder, why is it always that the mainstream is rarely where everything's at, right? Um, you know, eating whole grains and a balanced diet and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that's bullshit. And we know that now because we're actually like getting more and more people to cut all the junky carbs out of their diet. A calorie is not a calorie is not a calorie, right? Oh, it's just more calories, you know, you get fat, less calories, you'll lose weight. Well, that's not exactly true. Guys, I'm eating more calories now than I have in a really long time, and I'm fairly satiated, and I'm not gaining any weight. And I feel really good, and my clothes are fitting me better, and I'm getting smaller in the areas where I'm going to get smaller, right? And I feel solid. I feel like, you know, I'm not as flabby or whatever. So the one thing that is kind of sucky about carnivore, and I'm going to be really brutally honest with this piece, is it sucks that we live in a society where food always is supposed to taste good. We're supposed to sit down and eat this yummy meal, right? Beef tastes really good to you. Bacon tastes really good to you. Eggs taste really good to you when you're hungry. But when you're not starving or you're not like genuinely hungry, it kind of like, meh, you know, it's not exciting to sit down and eat a bowl of ground beef with salt and pepper. That's not exciting. That doesn't make you go, ooh, it's time to go eat dinner, you know? It's not a keto diet. I mean, there's so much out there now as far as like recipes and products and things like that. Like, you could genuinely sit down to a keto meal and it'd be one of the most delicious things you've ever had. That's a genuine thing that can happen. Carnivore, unless you are a huge steak fan and you live for steak, you're not going to be excited to sit down and eat food. But it's also a good thing because it makes you aware of the fact that we eat for so many more reasons than just hunger. We're supposed to be eating to live, not living to eat. And so it's been very eye-opening for me to see that about myself, that even through all of the change that I've been through, all of the experimentation and, you know, learning and implementing and changing this about myself and changing that about myself and thinking, oh, I'm learning, I'm getting it, right? Well, and then to do something like this and be like, oh, haven't really learned that much, have I? Because it's kind of hard. Like, there for a long time, it's like I would have like a block of low carb chocolate every night. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge piece, but I have this low carb fudge that I love to make, and it's delicious. And I'll have a block after every meal. It's like kind of like my cue that tells me, okay, the meal's over. I'm not going to need to eat again until dinner. This is delicious, right? This is going to hold me over as a high fat, high protein, loaded with vegetables meal, right? I don't need to eat anything else. So now I have my little finisher, my little block of chocolate, and I'm good until the next meal. Well, when you don't have that on carnivore, it's kind of like you feel like at the end of the meal, like something's missing. Like, oh, I don't get to have my chocolate or whatever. You almost feel sorry for yourself. So, or at least I do. But it's been eye-opening, and it's really been exciting and encouraging to see that, you know, I can do this. I can, and I don't have to, you know, have these gigantic salads and, you know, feel like I have to get all of this, you know, I've got to make sure that I get the sulforaphane in through broccoli sprouts. And I got to make sure I get, you know, my resveratrol from blueberries. And I got to make sure I get this and this and this and all these different nutrients, that my body will still get the nutrition that it needs and do really well, which is just meat, like beef, eggs, and bacon, butter. That's it. It's pretty much what I eat. I did experiment a little bit here and there with, my husband had brought me home this turkey breast thing that I had made some meals with that. I did allow myself to have some cheese here and there. I've had heavy cream here and there, but generally, I have beef, butter, eggs, and bacon, and it's very satiating. I enjoy it because I'm hungry when I eat it, and then once I'm full, I'm full. You know how when you eat something really tasty, like a pasta dish or something, you can go back for more bites. Oh, this is really good. Or, you know, you make a batch of keto brownies and, you know, you eat 3 instead of 1. You know, we're all prone to that, all of us, right? Because it tastes good. It's a pleasurable experience. But when you're carnivore, when the meal's over, it's over. You know, you're not going to go back and have more food because you just don't want it. You're satisfied. So here's my suggestion. If you struggle with portion control, like some of us have, I've struggled there. If you struggle with portion control and you struggle with pleasurable eating out of boredom or out of dealing with life that way or whatever, try a carnivore diet for a little while. Even if you don't believe that it's, you know, lifelong sustainable, it would be a good healing protocol. Just not, if nothing else, just for your mind, to tell you that you can survive on just this. You'll get what you need. Your body will make the repairs that it needs to make for itself, and you'll be good. You know, as I literally don't think I can do this my whole entire life, but I think I'll probably cycle in and out of it. And here's the reason why. Obviously, because I feel good, because I feel like my body's repairing tissues and things like that, but also because if you look at our ancestors, I'm sure there were times when they could not have they didn't have a fresh salad available to them every day, right? They didn't have blackberries available every single day. They didn't have the kinds of foods that we have access to every single day. They had to make do with what was seasonal. And in the wintertime, I'm pretty sure they didn't have like a root cellar full of, you know, like carrots and potatoes and stuff. They had to eat the meat that they could hunt and get. And so I'm sure that's one of the reasons why our bodies, maybe they switch gears or something. Like in the wintertime, we need more of that type of fuel. And in the spring, we need some of the greens and things and fresh, you know, spring vegetables or whatever. And then more of the heartier things toward the winter. Now, remember, we get into harvest time, the heavy carbs in harvest. What was their purpose? Their purpose was to put fat on the body so that you can withstand the winter time when you couldn't get an animal to, you know, you couldn't find one because I guess they're hibernating or whatever. You had to have fat stores on the body. That's how the human species is still here, because we didn't have a refrigerator and we didn't have a 7-Eleven with hot pizza and roller thingies or whatever for us to run in and grab in the wintertime. We had to kill an animal in order to eat, to feed our families, right? It's probably one of the reasons why I feel really good on carnivore right now. And I'll keep you updated if I'm going to continue or not. Bye.